So I can edit in intros and all that kind of stuff. I'm not worried about that kind of stuff. We'll just get right into it.
Absolutely.
So go ahead. The topic today was addiction, alcoholism, and your journey out of it, I believe was how you phrased it.
Oh yeah.
Where did you want to start in that
Well,
venture?
first let me introduce myself. I'm Let's
There
Farm.
you go.
I go by Let's Farm on the internet. Kind of keep on. Um, I am a Navy veteran. I'm going to be 58 years old next month. Um, I stopped drinking on October 12th, 1998. And I have not touched a drop of alcohol since, but my addiction journey begins long before that. Um, I lost my father when I was 13 years old, and that was quite traumatic. But also, my addiction journey doesn't even start there. Apparently, now this is only what I hear because, of course, you don't remember this young, but from the time I was little, my parents were putting whiskey on my gums for teething pain. As soon as I learned how to walk, my dad would have me fetch beers for him out of the fridge and he'd give me a sip pretty much off of every beer. So I got into this pattern very, very early. And then being a Gen X kid early on, we didn't have like a lot of supervision. It was kind of weird. Both parents would be working, you'd be left home alone a lot. And I had older friends who constantly were drinking. So occasionally they would offer me a beer. Not like they wouldn't get me drunk when I was like 10 or 11, but they'd let me have one. But then the big event happened. Um, one morning, it was September 27th, 1981. It was 10 a.m. and my dad is usually out of bed by about 9 or 9:30 because he worked nights and he wasn't up yet. And my Aunt Shirley was living with me at the time. And so I went to just check, make sure my dad get up for work. And I went to push open his bedroom door and it wouldn't open. So I pushed harder and it opened a little bit and I could see my dad laying on the floor. So I went and got my Aunt Shirley. We got the door open. He was pretty much unconscious, unresponsive. Called 911 and called my mom. They took my dad to the hospital. At that time, where I lived, they wouldn't let children under the age of 16 into the ICU. They let me in. I was 13 years old. That should have been a sign right there that my dad wasn't going to make it.
Hey man, hang on 1 second. I'm sorry, but looks
Absolutely.
like is the video and audio okay? All right. Well, then why don't we go ahead and if problems continue, maybe we'll make decisions later. But why don't we continue? You go ahead and go back over whatever you feel necessary to run back through, and then we'll pick
Well,
up from
well,
there.
base,
So,
basically, for anybody who didn't hear, I was describing my journey into alcoholism, and it started very early, like when I was a child. My dad used to have me fetch beers for him out of the fridge, and he'd open it and give me a sip. So that's basically how I got. It became very normal for a 4-year-old to be drinking beer. Weirdly, there's pictures of all three of my parents' children when they were like toddlers, 2 or 3, holding one of my dad's beers. There's a picture of all three of us like that. But and I had gotten to the part where I had found my father unconscious, and we called 911 and called my mother, and they took my dad to the hospital. And at that time, where I lived, it's 1981, they wouldn't let people under the age of 16 into the ICU to visit, but they let me in. I was 13 years old, and I should have known something was wrong then. But we stayed as long as they would let my mom stay, and we went home. And the following morning at 9 a.m., they called and told us that he had passed away.
mm, mm.
And my entire life got turned upside down on that day. Entire life, everything, everything I thought I could count on, I realized I can't count on anymore. It's like There are no guarantees. That's the thing that became clear to me on that day. There are no guarantees.
Yeah.
I expected to have my dad for longer than that. No guarantees. Well, because of the situation, every the reason I'm not a Christian also relates to this. At my father's funeral, the Baptist minister who did the services, he came up to me after the service. I'm sitting there, I'm just tears, I'm sobbing. Comes up to me after the service and he puts his hand on my shoulder and he says, Larry, it's going to be okay. He said, don't worry, your dad's up there having a beer with Jesus. And that made me lose my mind for a little while. Oh, man.
I can understand why.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
messed me
that's a
up.
confusing statement. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that is not what you say to a 13-year-old who just lost his father, probably partially due to his alcoholism.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the way to. And I kind of vowed that I wouldn't turn out like him, but we know how that works.
Yeah. Not that I hold clergy to any higher standard either, but still, even from that environment, that's an odd thing to come out. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Just being a basically normal human being wouldn't say things like that. That's not comforting. So then, all that gets done, and it gets to the point where now my mom we're a single income household, and my mom has to work a lot, make ends meet, make sure I am fed, got school clothes, all that shit. So now I am completely unsupervised from the time I get home from school till about 10 p.m. No mom in sight. She's working. And that's when my descent into true full-blown alcoholism happened. There was this guy in my town. I don't even know his real name, but everybody used to call him Lightning. And he was a hardcore alcoholic. And if you'd give him enough money to get him some beer, he'd buy you beer, no matter how old you were. He didn't care. He got what he needed. So he was always around. So from 13 till about 15, I drink maybe once a month, maybe twice, depending. When I turned 15, another guy moved into our neighborhood, and this guy, he really did not care about laws, about anything. Probably one of the most criminal-minded people I've ever known in my life, but he'd sell us whiskey. He would sell us whiskey. And that's basically, okay. My mom met my stepdad she didn't meet him. She'd known him from when she was young, but she kind of like reconnected with him when I was 15. And on New Year's Eve, what was it, 1983? New Year's Eve, 1983. I was 15 years old. They got married. That was my first blackout. Very first one. I went to my mom's wedding. I went to the wedding reception. I started drinking at the reception. Then I went to a New Year's Eve party after that, and I have no idea how I got home. None. And to be having a blackout at 15 years old, that should have been a warning sign. But nope, not to this guy. All right. Let's see, 15. That was okay. A few months later, I got my driver's license. Probably the worst thing that could have possibly happened to me at that time, because that made everything more available, and drinking and driving became a thing. I got my first DUI at 16, 5 months after I got my driver's license. I had it for 5 months, lost it for a year. Still didn't learn anything. I had friends that would drive me around in my car. This is hard recounting all this. This is bringing up emotions.
That's okay, man. Take your time.
It is bringing up emotions.
You're welcome to drive the format here too if you want other people to ask questions or something.
Well, the part of that right there was when I said that I had friends that would drive me around in my car. It brought up my best friend, because he was one of the ones that was doing it, and I lost him in 2011.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it gets a little. It's been a tough journey. It's been tough.
Mm.
Um, well, also at around 15, 14, 15, I started smoking weed too, a lot.
Mm.
And that actually slowed down some of my drinking
Mm.
a little bit.
Mm.
And I mean, somehow I managed to get through high school, graduated, did very well. And I went, after I graduated high school, the Elmira Pioneers, a AAA baseball team. I played baseball when I was young too. I played Legion baseball and played Little League.
Mm.
And the Elmira Pioneers were having open tryouts. Open. So I took a month and I tried to get my arm back into shape, and I went down and tried out to be a pitcher. And I had this set in my mind: if I don't make the Pioneers, I'm going to join the military. Well, I didn't make the Pioneers, so I joined the Navy. Well, as we all know, in the military, they are totally 100% anti-drug except for alcohol and caffeine and nicotine. Those are only three you can use. So I could not smoke weed anymore. And now the alcohol, it started picking because it was so easy. It was so accepted. It was cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was extremely cheap on base because we had a package store with no taxes.
Mm.
You know, you get a bottle of Jack Daniels for $11.
Mm.
So, and I had my roommate drank a lot. My ex-wife drank a lot.
Mm. Mm.
So it became a whole. It kind of centered around drinking.
Mm.
A lot of our events were, keg parties, or we're having something. I mean, going away parties in the military when somebody was getting out, man, that was a big drunk fest.
Yeah. Mm.
And that happened a lot.
Mm.
Okay, so now we get to the very first time I ever had, other than my DUI, which that was the only time I got in trouble drinking when I was young, and everybody, oh, you just made a stupid mistake. You won't do that again, right? You don't have a problem with alcohol. You just made a mistake.
Made a mistake, yeah. Yeah.
Just made a mistake. You know better. Don't drink and drive anymore. So I'm in the Navy. I'm single still, and I go to the E Club. And by the way, forgot to mention this. I had a fake ID when I was 19. They changed all the drinking ages to 21, so I got myself a fake ID that was very passable. I had sources. And so I go to the E Club, and I'm not even drunk yet. I've got about 4 drinks in me. And I'm standing at the bar, and they had this DJ that was playing. And some guy, I went to turn around and look at the DJ, and apparently he was turning around or something at the same time, and we just ran into each other, and we both dropped our drinks. So he got all mad at me, said I knocked his drink out of his hand. I said, well, mine's on the floor too, Well, it got into a shoving match. No punches were ever thrown. It just got into a shoving match. Well, we both got, the military police came and got us both. And now you've had an alcohol-related incident, as they call them in the military. And that's basically automatic rehab. So the Navy goes, you got to go to rehab. And I'm like, okay, you guys basically own me right now. So, I follow orders. They ordered me to go to rehab. I get down there. It was supposed to be 28 days. The senior chief in charge of the entire rehab, he calls me in to his office 6 days before I'm scheduled to leave. I had been there 22 days. He calls me and he goes, we're not buying your bullshit, right? I go, what do you mean? He goes, you've been faking it your entire time here. You aren't taking any of this seriously. And I just got your orders extended for 2 more weeks. So my very first rehab went from 28 to 42 days. And I guess at the end of the 42 days, they thought I was okay.
Doing okay, yeah.
Little did they know I had a case of Lowenbrow in my fridge at home waiting for me when I got back. So that one did not stick. Somehow I managed to stay out of trouble. Honestly, going to the rehab, at least taught me don't go to the E club. You got to drink at home. I already learned my lesson about drinking and driving. Don't drink and drive. Now I have one. Don't drink at the E club. New rules. So drinking at home and everything. Somehow managed to get out of the military. My ex-wife and I start having marital issues.
And when were you married along in that process?
Oh, I married my ex-wife 1987, and we separated in 1994. I got out of the Navy in 91.
Gotcha.
Also had a child during that time. My oldest son was born in 1989.
Wow.
And I mean, somehow I kept it mostly together. You know, I didn't get in any more trouble in my military career. I didn't get any more DUIs. Didn't get in any trouble with the police. You know, I was more of a controlled alcoholic then. I knew when I could drink and when I couldn't. I knew how much I could drink before I would do something like really stupid and decide to go driving somewhere. So, I was more of a controlled alcoholic then. So I get out of the Navy in 91 and I decided to go to college to get my aviation maintenance license. And unfortunately, I was on my own for the first semester. I thought it would be a good idea to stay at the college. I'd never been to college before. I didn't have any idea what it was going to be like. And during that first semester, I ran into my best friend. He was the best friend of my entire life. Also happened to be going to that college, and I didn't know it. And I'm at the college bookstore getting my books, and I walk out, and he yelled out to me. So I ended up going to his house a lot. And he hung out with local bands that were playing the bars. So I started hanging out with those local bands that were playing the bars. Man, if I'm at the bar listening to them, I'm probably not going to have a Pepsi. So, yeah, college. There's a time and place for everything. It's called college. Maybe if it's right after high school, not when you're a grown-ass adult. But I was acting like a teenager, that's for sure.
When did you start playing music along in that journey?
Oh my God, I've been playing guitar since I was 13.
Cool.
13.
Well,
And
hey, there's a good outlet.
Well, for music, I picked it up and put it down many times.
Yeah.
Picked it up, put it down. I got my first guitar when I was 13, played it till I was about 15. Then my stepbrother moves in with me, and he's like a really good guitarist and shit. So I just didn't want to play around him. So I kind of gave it up for a little while. I go in the Navy. I got a new guitar. I bought a new guitar. I played it for like a year, and then I kind of put it in the closet. When I got out of the Navy, I kind of got a little more serious about it. And I played, well, we'll get to there. We'll get to when it gets good.
Okay.
Got out of the Navy 91, went to college. College was bad for the first semester. I ended up right after I graduated college, which was in 1994. 94. My ex-wife and I separated. She had had enough of me. And after maybe 2 months, I started dating this girl, and she was the most horrible enabler I've ever met in my life. She was using my alcoholism to control me. And that went on for about 9 months. I ended up getting another DUI because I got so mad at her one night because of the way she was, that I left. I got in my car and I drove and got pulled over. So that was like, there was only like a month left of that relationship after that. Because I didn't know what the term was then. I do now. She was gaslighting me something fierce. And I mean, I had nothing to do with her getting evicted from the apartment she was in when we met. But somehow that became my fault.
Interesting.
And then well, when the new place that she was in. Now I wasn't living with her or anything. I was just visiting, and she also got evicted from that one. She said it was because I was visiting too often.
Mm. Mm.
And there was other things. She was accusing me of cheating on her. She was
Mm.
um I had lost my job, and my only income was my unemployment, and my money was disappearing.
Mm.
But apparently I was spending it and not remember spending it
Mm.
because I'm an alcoholic.
Mm. Mm.
I don't know. It got.
I mean, yeah,
I
there's a
was
lot of control and manipulation and things going on there, it sounds like. So, and yeah,
right.
blaming. Yeah.
So
Mm.
then the relationship ended very badly. I was drinking. And we got in a fight. And I walked out. I didn't drive. I walked. And I was kicking over garbage cans and shouting profanities walking up the road. Well, apparently, police got called.
Mm.
I got arrested for making terroristic threats,
Mm.
disorderly conduct, and scattering rubbish.
Mm. Mm.
I kind of like that third charge. I go in front of the judge, the district judge. I get sentenced to 90 days. And at 33 days of sitting in jail, the judge that sentenced me sent over a person from human service, social services to come talk to me. And they said that the lady came in, sat down. She goes, okay, the judge who sentenced you, he's known your family for a very long time, and he knows where you come from, and your and he said he doesn't think that you're a bad person. He just thinks you have a drinking problem, and that if you could get that under control, that you'd be, and you that you would never have these kind of problems again. He says you're not a bad person. You're just a bad drinker.
Mm. Mm.
And he wanted to offer you, he will suspend the rest of your sentence if you will commit to a 28-day rehab.
Mm.
I went, where do I sign? Because at this point in my life, I'd had enough.
Mm.
Because I did not remember storming up the street, shouting profanities, kicking over trash cans. I didn't remember any of that.
Mm.
I woke up in jail that morning with no idea how I got there.
Mm. Mm.
I had to actually get up and look at my charges that were laying there. What'd I do? And hoping that I didn't really hurt or kill somebody.
Mm.
Right? I'm hoping. And I was lucky it was just mostly non-destructive shit. It was just, they want me to pick up the trash, I'll pick up the trash.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
But and I signed, and I went to probably, I'm so sad that this rehab it no longer exists. It got closed.
Mm.
But I went to what I felt was probably the most effective rehab I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't, they didn't focus on the whole higher power thing, or theirs was more a secular scientific approach, and with a lot of counseling with people who had training in this, and I don't know, they got me to talk about things I had never talked about before. They made me realize when I went to this rehab, I was 28 years old, and my dad had died when I was 13. And one of the counselors there, it was right after we had men's group. What does that mean? DBT, CBT? I'm
Different
not sure what that means.
psychological kind of therapy techniques, strategies.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, but um, one the one that helped me the most was probably the men's group, the men's meeting we had. because it showed me that when I was in that group, the counselor for that group was a guy I knew from my hometown. And he's like, and he, I don't know how he did it, but he convinced me, maybe not convinced me, but at least showed me that it's okay to ask for help,
Yeah,
that we
sure.
all need help sometimes, that you can't do everything in this world by yourself,
Yeah, yeah.
you know? And then it was a Friday, and we used to go to AA meetings after all of our stuff was done on Fridays. We'd all go out to town to an AA meeting. Well, in between the men's group and the AA meeting, this counselor sat me down and talked to me. He convinced me that I had never properly grieved for my father,
Mm,
and he was right.
mm,
That one was tough. That was a very rude awakening. You know, I
yeah.
thought I'm good on this. It's a long time ago. Yeah, well, you're still carrying it, and I think that was what made the biggest difference on my recovery.
Mm,
Because I literally, when my father passed away when I was 13 years old, that blew a hole in my life that I was trying to fill with anything,
yeah,
anything at all.
yeah.
Drugs, alcohol, sex, it didn't matter.
Mm,
Just anything to make me not feel that, not think about that. And the fact that alcohol was so readily available and socially acceptable and I learned that. I lived it. There were so many alcoholics in my family. I saw it every day.
mm,
I mean, I literally went on a trip with another group of kids, and when I think I was like 8 years old, and I asked the boy in the back with me where his dad's beers were, because I literally thought everybody's dad drank beer while they drove,
yeah.
because mine did.
Mm,
So I kind of thought everybody's did. So
mm, mm,
and now that rehab, when I met my current wife while I was in there, and when I got out of that rehab, and she also got out of that rehab, we ended up like hooking up, talking, and within a little bit moving in together. And we stayed sober. We didn't drink any alcohol for 3 solid years.
mm.
And then we decided maybe we're okay. We could have a beer. 3 months later, I'm back in jail for disorderly conduct.
Mm,
And I got out. And there was nothing. They didn't make me go to rehab, anything else. My wife and I, we both relapsed at the same time. That's why we have the same sobriety date.
mm,
So we got ourselves back on course, started going back to meetings, stopped drinking. And it took a while, but we got everything back together. And that's why this is on my hand now. October 12th, 1998,
mm.
the very first day of my sobriety of this term. This is going to last me till the end. I think a lot of what keeps me sober at this point is that I promise myself I'll have another beer before I die.
Mm, mm.
Like maybe when I'm like 80 and can't hurt anybody,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
they can't drive anymore, whatever. So
Mm,
it seems to be working.
mm, mm,
But yeah, I used to smoke cigarettes, right? And I was always a right-handed smoker, left-handed drinker.
mhm.
So that's why I tattooed my sobriety date on the web of my left hand. So if I ever go to pick up an alcoholic beverage again, it'll be looking me right in the face.
Mm, mm, mm. Now you've quit smoking as well, or no?
I vape still, but I have quit smoking.
Gotcha.
And at the time, Jesus, when I quit smoking, that was September 11th, 2014.
Mm,
And I was a 3 pack a day smoker. I couldn't afford that today.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
$900 a month.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've never been a smoker myself, but I have good friends, my relatives who smoke, and just the amount of money saved or spent, on the contrary, is amazing to me. But then again, I have my own habits and things I like to do, and if you add those sums up as well, yeah, it's so,
Well,
um, yeah,
in living to this age, just knowing people, meeting people, talking to people, I realized that pretty much everybody has something. They got something.
yeah, yeah,
It maybe not addicted to or whatever, but something that just I know people who are adrenaline junkies. I know people who gamble. I know people who just are like so wrapped up in the church. It's like a rapture every weekend for them. Um, everybody kind of has something, and I don't know. It's okay to have something, I
yeah.
guess, as
Look,
long as it's not destructive to you
yeah,
or other people.
yeah. I've known people who functionally use drugs. I've known people who functionally overdrink, overconsume alcohol regularly, where it's probably not good for their bodies. And I think generally it's like if it is a problem in your life, that's when it becomes sort of diagnosable, pathological, clinical type behaviors.
Yeah,
If it
yeah,
causes some sort of dissonance in you that either you're exhibiting bad behaviors or you go for evaluation and people say, well, you got, maybe these are problems for you, stuff like that. So, but yeah, everybody's got something going on, especially today. But anyways, I don't want to
well,
divert. I don't want to deviate too much. Back to
well,
yeah.
just real quick. I mean, even just due to the jobs and my lifestyle and some choices I've made in my life, I'm kind of hard of hearing,
Mm, mm.
right? And
What? No,
of
I'm kidding.
course, well,
Me
of
too.
course, being a man, I'm like, I'll put off going and get my ears checked. I'll be like,
Yeah,
huh,
yeah,
huh,
yeah,
and my family's like, don't I hate repeating myself, and I don't want to yell at you.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I finally went and got my hearing checked. Yeah, I'm hard of hearing.
Yeah, I'm similar. Like I grew up in a family style that did not emphasize going to the doctor unless you were like dying.
Exactly,
And even if it was along things like drinking, like I have a similar story to yours where, when I was young, my parents were partiers and I would go around at the age of like 5, 6, 7, sipping people's alcoholic beverages. By the, early like 9, 10, I loved beer. Like beer had a flavor for me that I just craved.
exactly.
Um, yeah, so yeah, very similar things, but
I
social ills, cultural ills, I hope you get to a point where I hope you are, or you get to a point where you don't blame yourself over those things. And, they're
well,
just kind of circumstances we lived through. So,
I do still carry a little bit of blame and regret.
hmm,
I'm trying to work through it. It's
yeah,
helpful to
sure.
have my wife. I mean, she is probably the best person I could have ever met at that time in my life.
Mm,
Honestly,
mm,
her and I mean, very similar stories for us, very similar family dynamics.
mm.
She had more siblings than I did, but other than that,
Well, I
so
think it shows some sure genuine qualities that you can sit here and express it and talk about it and be emotional about it. That's awesome of you, and thank you for sharing all that. And
oh, absolutely.
um,
The
I'm happy to have met you and happy to know you.
Oh, I'm
So,
so glad to have met
yeah.
all of these people through you.
Mm, mm,
I mean,
mm.
I've known Robin for a little bit longer, but some of the other people like Don and Casey and them, it's Theo. I'm having a good time talking to Theo.
Yeah, Theo seems like a cool person. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right. Where
So
anything else you want to cover in there? What territory you want to go back and review through some things, or
um
you want to you want to open up the
why
floor
is
to
it
questions? Uh,
why is it always the addict or the alcoholic is the last one to realize that they have a problem?
I mean, that's a great question.
Everybody else around them can see it clearly, and they're like, "I got no problem. You got a problem."
Yeah. spectrum of behaviors. I mean, look at whenever I look at an issue, I try to draw out the spectrum of things, right? Like think of an extreme narcissist. Well, the quality of an extreme narcissist is they'll never admit that they're a narcissist. They'll never want to be diagnosed because you'll be wrong. You don't understand, or they'll be testing you when you're diagnosing them. They'll be like, "Oh, did you use the right so there's absolutely like a rejection of accepting any kind of problems. And of course, those traits are across the board of human behaviors to any degree. So some of that is like I have an issue. It's an issue because I don't see it as an issue, maybe. You know, maybe lots of other people see it as an issue. Maybe it's a societal ill that I personally think we have a lot of normalized behaviors that are mental illness and across the gambit of all societies. Do some societies handle psychology and mental stability type integration into their civilization, society, whatever, and do it better? Yes. Do some do it worse? Yes. Does the United States do a great job of it? Horrible.
Well,
We're probably in the list of some of the worst, if not like beyond that, some third world nations that are really horrible about human rights and things like that. So yeah,
being Gen X, I was raised to be a tough boy.
yeah,
You
me
know,
too. Yeah,
you walk it off.
yeah,
You'll be fine. No blood, no foul,
yep, yep.
kind of
That's
thing.
familiar. Yeah,
So you're always supposed to tough your way through whatever.
yeah, yeah. I did, yeah. Same. I did kind of have some differences about me. Like I was always a crybaby, even though I was the tough guy doing all the things. I would never have any problem crying in front of people, and I think that's a lot because at some point in time I became the biggest and most. So what I did didn't really matter because nobody would really tease me much for it. But when I was younger, I got bullied a lot, and and that caused a lot of that kind of masculinity and sort of probably misogynist and all the bigotry that kind of gets sucked into those arenas of tradition and culture and society and such. But
What did they expect leaving us on our own all that time, though?
yeah, that's another thing that I like very much relate with you. My parents were non-existent. There was nobody there really to guide me besides the people who I kind of came across. I had parents, they were there, they were figures, they were supporting us. I had a home for the most part until my father died early as well. But that, this isn't about me, but to say, like, I align with all that stuff, how it was basically just, no parenting, no guidance, figure it out type stuff. And then the bad things are the things that rubbed off, like don't bother me.
Right.
I'll just
Well,
tell a quick little anecdote here. I have one quick story. When I was young, I was into
feel
martial
free.
arts. I was playing with my nunchucks at the microwave, waiting for my food to cook, and I whacked myself in the head accidentally, really hard. And I cut it. Actually, it's on this side. You can still see the scar right here. I whacked my head, and like I needed stitches. Well, I walked over to my dad and I said, "Hey, Dad, I have a problem." And he looked up at me, grabbed my hair, he dragged me into the bathroom, shoved my head under the sink, washed my eyebrow, shaved half of it off, put a Band-Aid on, and said, "Go back out and do whatever you do." So, like, that's how we dealt with things. Like, we always teased that if you cut your arm off, my mom would put Bactine on it, and my dad would throw a Band-Aid on it and say, "Go back out and play." Yeah, so anyways, go ahead.
Well,
Sorry.
Casey made it. She said, when it's what you use to cope, you might want to deny it if you don't know what to replace it with
Yeah, true.
or are scared to change. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Not aware of the options, not the aware of the array of human behaviors and experiences. Yeah.
And and that's why the first rehab didn't work for me.
Mm,
They didn't give me new tools really to
mm,
cope with the things that were going. The second one, I went to the same rehab as a famous rock band.
mm,
I
mm,
met the sponsor of one of them, and he was a Catholic priest, right? But he was also an alcoholic.
mm, mm,
And he said, don't even worry about this collar. He says, this has nothing to do with what I'm going to tell you right now.
mm, mm, mm,
And he told us that just because he uses the church or Jesus or God to help him cope now instead of alcohol, he says, that's not what you have to use.
mm,
He says, what you're going to learn here are a lot of other options. And, I mean, I think almost every human being could benefit from at least professional counseling at some points in their lives,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
especially like when you're grieving, because some of us just don't know how to grieve properly.
Yeah.
To actually to go, you want to bury those emotions down instead of letting them come out and express how they make you feel.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I never cried in front of people when my dad died. I would go
Mm,
up to my bedroom, close my door, and I would just bury my face in my pillow and sob. But I wouldn't do that in front of people because
mm.
I'm a boy. I got to be tough.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I'm a firm believer. I've been known to say in the past that I think everybody should go through therapy until they prove they don't need it anymore. Granted, I know all the complications that would cause the logistics of it and everything would be something to work out. But yeah, totally agree. And not only that, quality varies depending on. I've been through, I think 1 in 10 or 15 different sources I've gone to have actually been helpful. Others are like, try holistic medicine. Have you tried God? Have you, it's like, oh my God, like you're violating laws right now about this treatment. So
I'd say 1 out of 5 that
yeah,
I've talked to.
it's definitely a minefield. It's a pothole, or it's full of potholes. Anyways,
And
Rito
and
asked,
also,
said, oh, go ahead.
okay, no, you go ahead.
No, Rito asked how important is it to have others notice it for us, like, and I think it related to the problems that we don't recognize in ourselves. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right. I mean, people were pointing it out to me for years,
Yeah.
and
It's important. It's not a solution. It's, I think,
they
yeah, yeah,
the thing, like, okay, when you're an active alcoholic or addict, um, no matter what anybody tells you, they don't know what's best for you.
yeah,
It for me personally, I don't want to speak for everybody, but for me personally, it took me hitting an absolute rock bottom. Like literally waking up and not knowing if I had killed somebody
yeah, yeah,
or seriously hurt somebody before I kind of got the oh shit, yeah, I could really hurt somebody if I continue this behavior. It was a shock to my system then. I
mm,
mean, I'd passed out, or blacked out before, but I always woke up at home or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
This
I mean,
time,
yeah,
no.
that look my so I don't want to get too divulgent of my family details, but I have family members who went through addiction, like heroin problems and such, and it took them to hit rock bottom in order to kind of turn, and they did eventually. At least one of them turn their life around. I lost others. Others probably, I don't know, fell off. I have no idea what happened with them. Um, but yeah, I definitely think rock bottom is one of those things you have to hit in order. As some people recognize it sooner. I think I've had my own problems with addiction in my life, and maybe even still today. But I've managed to either start to recognize, like alcohol, I think was a problem for me for a couple years. Right, I was drinking
Right,
a good fifth of alcohol every day, every two, something like of tequila mostly. As a matter of fact, recently we got rid of all my bottles that I had stored up over time. We recycled them all. So yeah, but then I just eventually I recognized that I got to make a choice. Either this is going to end me or I'm going to do something about it and try. And I'm not saying that that's easy for any one person in those circumstances to do. So
right.
we're all different. We've all got different experiences and drivers that drive us into those behaviors. That I think we try to oversimplify those things all too often, and then judge people and say, "Well, if I can do it, you can do it." That's just not fair, in my opinion. Um,
Well,
so
since I got you here, there's a huge. We all know there's a huge difference between physical addiction, psychological addiction, right?
yeah, yeah,
Big difference.
yes,
Um, and I do believe that I was physically addicted to alcohol. My body had just,
yeah, yeah,
you know, um, when I went to that second rehab, they made me go to a physical first. I had to go get blood work and all that other shit before I went. make sure I didn't have any communicable diseases or anything. Wasn't going to drop dead on them in there.
Mm.
And it turned out that my liver functions were down quite a bit
Mm.
because of how hard I was drinking. And so I I don't look at like things like weed the same way cannabis.
Yeah.
It can be psychologically addictive to people, but I honestly don't think there's any physical addiction to that.
Mm.
Honestly, there he is.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. The way I view it today, kind of like, and I'm not a specialist in this area, but it seems a lot behavioral with like substances as the inciters, and just so I do see the physical and the mental aspect. I think there are addictive qualities to people behaviorally who kind of get stuck
Yes,
into that addictive cycle, and then yeah, the substances just don't help on top of that. So
but
um,
the comparison I was getting to, like you can get them like where I live, cannabis is not recreational,
yeah,
but it's medical. You can get your medical marijuana card.
yeah,
And that just takes me back to during Prohibition. You could get a prescription for alcohol too.
yeah, 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 sure.
Prescription alcohol.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and look, I'm not going to deny that cannabis can possibly be addictive for some people. I don't see it as statistically a very highly addictive substance like some of these other, you know, uh, products that have many other statistics that back them up that says they are pretty much addictive. If you've got that
Yeah.
quality, if you've got the substance, you're gonna like it and can want to continue doing it.
Right.
Opiates were another one that I went through periods of, and I think a lot of this was, me. I fell through periods of illness and was just trying
Yes.
to figure out what the hell was going on, and I was self-medicating. So, um, but yeah. It's tough.
Yeah.
I really do think if we made a lot of societal changes, we could change a lot of these addictive pitfalls that people fall into. A lot of it is incited by deep things, not just hey, I found a substance and I made a bad choice.
In 1981, for a man to go to counseling, oh, you're weak.
Yeah, yeah. I know
Yeah.
that
Can't
notion.
handle
Yeah,
it yourself.
yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've told you my wife is from Myanmar. Well, their whole country has an overt like theme that psychology isn't a thing, depression isn't a thing. Doesn't speak for everybody in the country, but it's like societally, culturally, you just don't do that. And I've seen this exhibited through like my wife's aunt and uncle and other members of their family. Her father and mother were very kind of on board with a lot of progress and stuff, so that was kind of one good aspect. But I remember sitting with my wife's uncle and aunt at one point, and my uncle was trying to open up about being depressed about something, and she's like, "Oh, stop that! Nobody wants to hear that. You're not depressed. You just need to change your whatever, yada yada yada." So, yeah, it's a problem worldwide, and this country has a big problem with it.
At the point in
So
my life, I probably could have most used counseling of some sort. Don't worry about it, Larry. It's going to be all okay. Your dad's drinking a beer with Jesus.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, guy.
Mm, mm. Crazy. Um,
And that was from the church. They're just lovely people.
yeah, yeah. Whole other
Oh my
topic of
goodness.
stuff there. Yeah, going
Yeah.
into yeah, but
Well, that's the reason. I mean, that right there was the entire reason I never went to church there again.
yeah, yeah.
I told my mom I'm not going.
Makes sense. Bad experience. Don't want that bad experience again.
Exactly. Like I go to a restaurant and I get some horrible food. Probably not going to eat there again.
Yeah, Rito. So Rito says sounds like Mexican moms and dads memes. You're not depressed. You just need to do more house chores.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
the word that most describes all the males I had to deal with between 13 and 18 when I graduated is machismo.
Mm,
They just be a man,
yeah, yeah,
walk it off. I'm surprised
yeah.
they didn't tell me that when I fell out of the tree and broke my arm. Ah, just walk it off, you'll be fine. No, arms don't bend this way.
Do you want to see if anybody wants to come up and talk and ask some
Come on up.
questions?
You
Yeah.
can ask me questions.
Come
I'm
on up,
fine with
everyone. If anybody wants to come up and join us and ask questions, we're still recording, so I'll pick it all up. Feel free.
it. If I left any gaps you'd like me to fill in.
Um, yeah, I mean it's a really fascinating topic to me. I my kind of areas of interest are in other things, but I think they're similar. Like the reasons they foment are similar. Like I when I was growing up, I had learning deficiencies, and I was called stupid and lazy, and so it's all those ascriptions to your behaviors that are actually probably the reason or the causes for future behaviors, possibly, or maybe the incentive incitements. But yeah, so and I've had my addictive problems and stuff, but I've never been to that point, that low of a point in my life. So that's just a place I can't relate with, only have experienced it through other people, you
Well,
know.
part of the reason that I say that I was at least mildly or somewhat physically addicted to alcohol when I first time I quit drinking, which was 1995, when they put me in jail.
Mm,
And I woke up there and figured out why I was in there. I went out for breakfast and
mm,
I couldn't eat. Couldn't eat, couldn't drink coffee, nothing. If I tried to take a sip of, I instantly went in my room, threw up.
mm, mm,
Things just, I mean, and then for the next 2 days, I was like this,
mm,
and just shaking. And I felt awful. And they gave me, I don't remember what they gave me. They gave me some kind of pill that just,
mm, mm. Is
it
that
wiped me right out.
the DTs? Is that what that was? Is
I
like your body
think I
going
was
through
having very
alcohol
mild
withdrawal?
DTs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wasn't seeing anything that wasn't there,
Mm,
but man, I was shaking. I was nauseous. Then I got too much information here, but I got the worst diarrhea I think I've ever had in my life.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's I've definitely got into some hard alcohol use, but it was more of a titration off than there was a cold turkey stop for me. I'm
I
sure at
was
some point, if I'd have just stopped, I probably would have had similar experiences.
I
So,
was drinking Jack Daniels straight
oh yeah,
or Jim
yeah,
Beam straight with a water chaser.
yeah. Mm,
And I was going through a lot of it. And it's just, I drank till I either passed out or blacked out
mm, mm. Rob,
almost every night.
Robin, did you want to pop in here?
I just figured everybody was coming up.
I don't
Let's.
mind talking about that. So go ahead.
I guess outside of like my abuse that happened when I was a kid, I was very lucky. When I hear all these stories about your parents and stuff, I had really good parents, and it, I can't imagine how hard that must have been. All that shit that happened when you're young like that, and of course, I didn't. I've been a drunk several times in my life. I've never been an alcoholic.
Mm,
I've always been able to just walk away from alcohol.
mm,
Drugs have been another story. But the alcohol, like I would get on when I got divorced the first time. I got drunk for I don't know a couple months, and then when I got divorced the second time, I got drunk for a few months, and then I just always kind of got over it. And I started driving, and you really can't drive a truck and drink, so
mm, mm,
that
mm,
just kind of that doesn't go good or good. So I guess I've been lucky, and I guess probably I'm not as predisposed to alcoholism as somebody else is. But
Well, I come from a long line of alcoholics, though, Robin. My grandfather, my aunts and uncles on my dad's side, my great grandfather. It goes back quite a ways. So
mm,
yeah, yeah, I think I had one grandfather that drank, and he didn't drink by the time I was like I can remember. He had quit drinking by then, and my parents they drink more now than they didn't drink at all when I was young. They don't drink much now, but my mom will have a margarita or something. And she never would even do that when I was young. So
mm,
be right
mm.
back. One second.
No
Coffee.
worries. Yeah, drinking was a big part of my culture growing up, and it was just normalized. Um, and just yeah, there was no real like thought of it being bad. Yeah, sure. I mean, kids drinking at a young age was, I think, culturally not acceptable, but still, like, you'd have the memes of kids sneaking alcohol. I remember as a kid, very young kid, going to my parents' liquor cabinet, and just my friend and I took a little bit of each bottle and we just made this mix of stuff and we drank it. It tasted absolutely disgusting, but we did it anyway. um, but that's just tomfoolery. That's just kids fooling around with things that they don't realize could end up ruining their lives in so many ways.
Yeah.
If and I guess that's part of my other thing is, like, if that is really truly the incentive behind the ruining of a life. I'm not a believer in people making these choices or wrong choices, like, you know, um, the common things like, well, why are you poor? You could have made better decisions in your life and ended up not poor. I mean, just things, narrow-minded things like that are just really,
Yeah.
um, you know, it's probably a combination of complex things, like not growing up in a healthy, supportive, safe environment, and then having things normalized around you that are ill, shouldn't be there, you know? Um, so, but that's woke, bro. We don't want to be woke, you know?
No. Yeah, brain
It's
dead's better. Just brain dead.
We ain't no leftist woke libtard. Uh,
I am.
yeah. One thing I forgot to bring up in my list. It was surprising to me how when I went to the military rehab, they didn't want to use the words Jesus and God, but they were using always spiritual and spirituality and things, something greater than you. And I was like, you mean God, right?
yeah.
Well, you were like following the law, like they're supposed to.
Well, yeah, because it's military. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and they're probably not even doing that now.
Right, but then I get out of there and I go to this other rehab, and it was totally secular. They didn't bring God or Jesus or anything into it. It was all about getting proper counseling, knowing when you need help, asking when you need help, telling us that it doesn't mean you're weak. I mean, they make like stupid examples. You need to pick up this 200-pound washer and bring it in the house. You're going to do it by yourself? No, you need to get help.
Hey, you were lucky. You were lucky then that you didn't get thrown into something where they, that's not as effective. Because,
Right.
like, there are people who get sober in those places, but there's not as many of those cases as there is. There's a lot of relapse and stuff out into those.
Oh, I trust me. You go to. I learned by going to AA meetings that some of them are. Oh my! You might as well just be in church.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, that's why I was curious if you knew what the modality was as far as that second rehab that you went through. Because, like, I was reading some stuff the other day about AA in particular. It's I've seen some studies that show it has like a 5%, if that, success rate for some people, and I think that can depend on the group that you're joining. But yeah, compared to, like, I've gone through a few different types of therapies, and like I found a DBT group 6-ish months ago, and it's the first one that I found that they specifically are working on teaching you the skills, and then they have you move forward and you can do like individual therapy and talk about your personal stuff, but you're in group therapies, and it's not like we're just going to share all of our trauma and leave and be sad. No, we're talking about specific skills week to week, and they have you build that up, and it's been the most effective for me. But that also does depend on the individual and what kind of skills you might need. So kind of my rant around that. Sorry.
Well, an interesting part of the second rehab that I was in was that after we'd been to an AA meeting, when we came back to the rehab, it was an inpatient rehab. When we came back to the rehab, we'd all sit around in the group room and talk about the meeting, and like if we got anything from it, or it was like the rehab was reviewing if AA meetings were effective or not for us, and mostly it wasn't. I mean, it was small town AA meetings. It's way too much God, and Jesus, and praying, and
Yeah, that's what I understand from people who I know who've been through those experiences. It's more of like a from the ground up kind of thing. It starts off with somebody who's been through recovery or a group of people who come together and they've been through recovery and they decide to start up. It's not super clinical and involving a lot of really deep psychological techniques. That's why I think like Pharm's experience, probably he just got lucky and got some really good people and a good system, and many other people suffer. The other thing, I think the thing I hear a lot is people go in there and come out with more connections and or how to make their own drugs now, maybe possibly, or stuff like that.
Well, jail teaches you to be a better criminal.
Yeah.
But the fact, one of the main things, I think something that spoke to me a lot as someone else, I was not even 30 years old going through my second rehab, and was the man who asked to be my sponsor. He used to be my dad's bartender.
Interesting.
And he's like, I knew your dad from way back. He says, don't want to see you end up like him or go out like him.
Now, he was a bartender. Was he a drinker too, or no?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
And he ended up buying the bar that he was a bartender at, and then bankrupting it. So,
okay, go ahead.
And he went through the same rehab, and it worked for him. And that's why he decided to help other people. I didn't ask him to be my sponsor. He says, I'm going to be your sponsor. Gave me his phone number. He said, you call me anytime, day or night, doesn't matter.
Awesome.
I have one of my best friends. We used to do a lot of drugs together. He got in a lot of trouble, and so he quit. And he was married, but he quit and he became a preacher. And he relapsed and went back into drugs and everything. And while he was being a preacher, he was also like the NA, guy that was running the NA meetings. Then he relapsed, went back into drugs, and then he quit again and became he's still a preacher now, but he had several goes at it before he finally kind of whooped it. You know what I mean? But he's still a preacher too, though. I think he's staying straight anyway this time. And he's like one of those people that I just like. I actually went to church with him once just because he was preaching, And I told him, I said, don't be trying to get me to come up to the altar or nothing. Because he knows I'm a non-believer. So, and I guess I've always felt like if that's all what it takes to keep him straight, I hope he just stays on it. But I feel like he'd probably been better off if he could have went first time to a decent program instead of going through all that preaching stuff over and over and over.
Yeah.
I was curious. I just looked up what the average amount of intervention it takes for someone to quit, like whatever type of substance, and I guess it's 2 to 5 serious recovery attempts. Like the median is closer to 2, but because some people require a lot more. I had heard higher than that though. I thought it was closer to like 7 or something like that. I just thought that was interesting.
Sometimes it depends on a person. If it would not have been that particular rehab that I went to the second time with those particular people, I had relapsed again, maybe multiple times. But there was something about that particular group of people, and especially like my sponsor and 2 counselors that were just, I wish we could like clone them and keep them going because they were some of the best people ever for that job.
There's a study that actually says ranges from 0 to 100 attempts. Because obviously there's people that spend their whole life and they're not successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't
And
think
and
our
I also
country emphasizes these
with
treatments
with
and circumstances enough. So yeah.
and with the opiates in particular, if there's not proper aftercare after they get them through the rehab and get them, clean. I mean, how many people relapse and die on that relapse?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
They think they can do just what they used to, and boom, that's how I lost my
I hope
nephew.
there's not a lot of road noise coming my earbuds. But I was thinking back, and it took me 5 separate serious attempts to
Mm.
just quit nicotine.
Mm.
Now when I was younger, I played around with harder drugs. I fucked around with meth for about 6 months and just gave it up. No, no big deal. Did coke a few times, no big deal. Dropped acid a bunch, no big deal.
Mm.
But nicotine was the one that really had a hold on. And
Same here, brother.
well, you guys know it took me getting on a different drug to help me get off the nicotine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, addiction is a motherfucker.
Yeah, it
It's a
is.
monkey, and people give it the seriousness that it deserves when you're looking at stuff like sugar. That's my current addiction right now is sugar and caffeine, and I like to have them at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Me too.
I've tried going with sweeteners, and that didn't last. I've still got a big ass bag of Splenda that'll never get used because it doesn't taste like sugar. None of it does.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted y'all to know I've been having a good time listening to y'all and rolling around my little city here.
Yeah, it looks
And
awesome, man.
Yeah, great
y'all
view.
thank you. Y'all just keep going. And I got it up right now. Okay, we're not sideways.
Well,
Well,
and it's interesting you bring up sugar, but sugar is one of those things that they're talking about now today that's like they're saying is just as addictive as any other really highly addictive substance out there. So, and it's used
Mm-hmm.
within the food industry to perpetuate our desires for foods that taste good.
absolutely.
And, so yeah, it's a whole other aspect of how, our sort of instincts have been hijacked by modernity in a sense.
And by the way, I'm not here to tell anybody what they should do. I'm just saying what worked for me.
Yeah, actually,
You
yeah,
know,
absolutely,
every individual is different. What worked for me may not work for you.
absolutely.
But if you're having a problem with a substance, do not be ashamed or afraid to reach out for some help. Don't.
Agreed. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's amazing because a lot of that aligns with my philosophy of this platform, or the philosophy of this platform. Be your genuine self. Try not to worry about social conformity. Um, yeah, and I mean, of course, on the other, sciences rely on the best tools that we've learned to manage these circumstances. I agree. Nobody should feel ashamed about seeking psychological help. Help in any instance. I always make the analogy that we're born, and when we're born, we can't survive without help. So yeah, and that means people that came before you that want to make you feel ingratiated for them helping you. It's like they needed help at one point in time as well, probably in multiple other times in their life as well. Like we can't do anything without each other, but yet somehow we get stuck in this loop of some very few of us are the most important ones, and they're the ones that we should put on the pedestal. And um, so, yeah, thank you for pointing that out. That's a really good point. I agree.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
that's how I lost my nephew
mm,
because he was afraid to ask for help. He was ashamed of his addiction.
mm. Yeah. That's a really sad part of humanity, that we have that aspect of us. And it's usually by some form of, I guess, what you might call survivorship bias. Like, we're here, so therefore other people must be able to do what we do, and if they're not where we are, they're making the wrong choices or doing the wrong things in life, or they're just not smart, or whatever the case may be. That we do this blame game for people's whatever, their circumstances in their life. And I think that really sets the stage for the inequalities that we have today. But that's, again, we're running way off on a
Yeah.
tangent in that one. Anyone else want to say anything? Pharm, it's been more than an hour now. I'm happy to continue
Yeah.
talking. You covered it. If there's anything else you'd like to bring up about it, feel free. We can talk more.
No, I think I pretty much covered my story. It was difficult, but at this point in my life, I don't think I'd change much of it.
Well, it was.
You know, it turned me into a fully. I'm capable, right? I mean, if something breaks in my house, I can either fix it or I know who to get a hold. It's not like I've seen people like on the side of the road panicking because their car broke down. They're panicking, and I'm like, why are you panicking?
Bro, I panic when I lose my phone and it's in my hand.
Yeah.
Well, I'll panic if I lose my vape. That I will. It's really weird. This thing right here is, Don will tell you, I mean, this has me so addicted to it, right? That as long as, like, if I go out and mow my lawn, it takes a couple hours, right? If I set my vape down where I know where it is, that's not a problem. I don't need to hit it that whole couple of hours, right? But let me set it down somewhere where I don't know where it is. I could have just hit it 3 minutes ago, and now I'm panicking. Where is it? I need to put an air tag on it.
Yeah. Man, my brain can go off in so many different tangents. I got to keep myself wrangled in. Pharm, I wanted to let you know, just on as a side note, I usually put some sort of musical kind of intro creation in the beginning. If you want to throw together a guitar riff or something, just a quick guitar riff for an intro pass it off, I'd be happy to do that. Otherwise, I'll take care of it. So
I'm still not comfortable with my recording software.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I gotcha.
It's
right.
My son is supposed to be. Okay, I got all this
I'm
software.
open for other contributions too, people. So yeah.
Well, wait, I got my DAW. I got all my software, and my son was supposed to help. I've been clicking buttons in it and breaking it every time. So, but it does help me figure out what that button does.
Yeah. Fair enough. No, I was just making the offer open. I'm kind of a flexible platform here. I'm open for as much as people want to contribute or as little. So,
I was just amazed when I found out you have the same guitar I got, just in a different color. Don't see a lot of them around anymore.
What kind is it?
It's a Jackson Performer. It's a made in Japan guitar, and they were of exception. Weirdly, the price on them was not that bad. I mean, I paid like $700 and something for mine, brand new. And the quality of the build is more like a $1,500-$1,600 guitar. It's quality wood, quality build,
this
quality.
The one you got thrifting, like at a thrift?
No.
Okay,
This one. Okay. When I first started, I got a job in a foundry in 1995, and that work was killing me, physically killing me. So in 1997, to continue to convince myself to continue working there, I had to buy myself a really nice present. So I bought a brand new guitar.
Awesome. Yeah.
And she still sits. Wait. Still sits right here. It's right beside me. There she is. She just sits right here.
I think I gotta try to find. I think it's a Jackson, like a bright green one that I traded somebody. I had like this cheap $100 Fender that I'd gotten on sale. This was my first electric guitar, and somebody at my parents' church offered to trade me for the Jackson. And I'm like, fuck yeah. And it turns out it's like much better quality, but I gotta find it. I haven't fucking touched that thing in years.
The necks on Jacksons are so thin.
I put some colored strings on it though, because I wanted it to be like Ninja Turtles, but those colored strings, I don't know if you've ever fucked with them. They're not good.
They're terrible.
Yeah, I was disappointed.
Most valuable guitar I ever got my hands on in my entire life. A friend of mine needed some money, and he sold me a Fender Stratocaster for $400. And I told it I should have never said this, that I'd sell it back to him, right? Because I got this guitar and I'm looking at it, and it's got a Kahler Spider tremolo on it and dual humbuckers on a Fender Telecaster, right? So I'm like, I've never seen a Fender like this. So I took it all apart, man. I took everything off. I took the neck off it. I'm looking. There's 2 different dates on the neck and the body, right? In the pickup cavities, there is somebody's initials in the front one. The tremolo, cavity, I could tell it wasn't added on after the factory because it was painted inside the tremolo cavity. The exact same. So I'm researching. I can't figure this guitar out. And then I find this Reddit, and I put in all the information, and the guy told me, "Oh, that's an 88." I go, "What do you mean an 88?" And he goes, "In 1988, when Fender bought back Fender guitars, he said they just started shipping out guitars from parts they had in the factory. They just put different parts together." And I'm like,
huh.
So it was a one of a kind. One of a kind. I sold it back to him like an idiot.
Wow.
I should have kept that thing. That was damn near a custom shop guitar. It was nice.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm not so fortunate to have good. The best thing I think I ever come across was a pretty kind of sad story. When in my restaurant career, I knew a young kid who was struggling with heroin, and he wanted to borrow $100, and I was like, well, I'm not confident I'm gonna ever see that $100 back. So he's like, he'll give me his Les Paul. He had an old Les Paul.
Oh my God!
Now it was taken apart. He had already kind of stripped it for a lot of its parts to sell it, probably so he could get drugs. And so it was like the body, the neck, bunch of stuff, just kind of extras. And I never saw that money again. And then I think I ended up giving that to somebody else who wanted to rebuild it and everything. So yeah, that's about my top story. Actually, I did have a friend recently give us. I think it's a Martin. I think it's a Martin 12-string.
Damn.
Oh no, it's an Ovation. That's right. It's an Ovation 12.
Still a nice guitar.
Yeah, it's a really nice guitar. Just gifted because he didn't play it anymore, and he knew my daughter was learning how to play guitar and stuff. So
well, two years ago, or a little over 2 years ago, when I was diagnosed, when it first started happening, I got pictures of my hands just puffed up like balloons, right? And I had no idea what was going on. I go to the doctor. They diagnosed me with rheumatoid arthritis, and the first treatments they put me on weren't working worth a shit. Not working at all. And I pretty much lost the ability to play my guitar for over a year. I mean, I couldn't grip I looked like Donald Trump or Marco Rubio drinking coffee because I had to hold it with 2 hands because I was afraid I was going to drop it.
Yeah.
Right. And then they put me on Humira.
Sorry to laugh. That was good.
No, it's fine, because then they put me on Humira, and I mean, within a week or 2, the swelling started going down, and I mean, I got my hands back now. I can play again. So I am so thrilled.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're getting treatment. That's good. Awesome.
Yeah, I got a little rusty over that time when I've been working on getting all my chops back. The leads are I also broke my finger during that time, and my pinky's now crooked. So that doesn't make it any easier, but I'm trying.
I think both of them got their hands up, and I didn't have mine up, and you brought me up there. Did you bring them?
No, he invited them up, and they didn't come up.
I just didn't care. I didn't know if you wanted to come back up and speak more. I don't know.
Okay, I thought they had. Well, they got their hands up. Huh?
No, that's me inviting them to come up if they want. Just giving them the opportunity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I've got an aunt and uncle that own a company called Custom Inlay, and that's what they do. They put the pearl inlay on guitars, and he builds mandolins and banjos and stuff. And I used to like cut the diamonds for the Les Paul. They used to do all the Les Paul.
Wow.
Nice.
Amazing.
Guitars.
That's awesome.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make very custom, very expensive, like instruments now, like mandolins and stuff, and pretty expensive stuff.
Speaking of addictions, a little crossover here. I know I've had many people in my lives who have had addictions to things like musical equipment, just having rows and rows of guitars, or amps, and knowing details about them, and just having so much money invested in it. It's just, and then
I have,
on average salaries and stuff. So it's just
uh,
amazing to me.
Yeah,
Gene,
I'd say mine rocks. Mine
I'm
rock.
I'm lower income, and I have 6 guitars, 2 basses, a violin, an entire PA system. I mean, right here behind me, that's my Randall 200-watt half stack
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah. Well,
I
you know
live
what?
on disability, and I have 5 places on the.
Yeah.
Guys, is Dawn on?
He's
Is this,
walking.
He's
Well, he's rolling.
tooling around his neighborhood. Yeah.
I'm rolling.
Rocking and rolling.
But
Hey.
then, yeah, I wanted to also bring up that, like, I think it even crosses into the boundary of what a major addiction we see today that's pretty rampant, and that's the collection, hoarding of wealth.
Mm,
You know,
Absolutely.
some people see that as as like a thing. Yeah, well, they probably don't see it as an addiction themselves, but some people very much see money like that, like they want to see how much they can get, and it gives them more acclaim and power and stuff, and so I see that as a form of addiction as well. It's definitely got its negative outputs on society, if you will.
And what did they just say the other day about like Facebook, Meta there? Addictive, and you made it addictive on purpose.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, we all know that they went through decades with, like, psychology workers who helped them gear their algorithms, to kind of, again, hijack our instincts, our basic instincts of attention and high status seeking and all that stuff. So yeah.
I pretty much gave up Facebook. Just continuing to see all my neighbors who still support Trump, just made me not even want to get on it. My brother-in-law actually sent me a message like a couple of weeks ago and said, "Are you in Facebook jail?" And I was like, "No, I've just been staying off of it," because he just hadn't seen my post, so he thought I was in Facebook jail.
Well, I can proudly say I've never had a personal Facebook.
I
Never.
had one. It was all farmland when I was first started. You know that saying, I remember when all this was farmland?
Yeah.
That's exactly what mine was. That's what I did, was farm when I started.
Yeah. I went
I
through a
would
Facebook phase, but yeah.
I would love to own a farm at this point in my life. I'm old, and I'd still love to own a farm.
Yeah.
Right
Land
now.
would be nice. I'd love to have land.
Well, I would actually.
Yeah.
Mine wouldn't be a giant working commercial type farm, but I'd work at some.
Well, my farmland farms were awesome. Like, I had like 9 farms. They was packed full of trees and animals and critters and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. They were great farms. And they got rid of Farmville.
Well, we do. We well for real life type farm. I mean, I don't own enough land to have a farm. Here, I could maybe raise chickens, but I have as many fruit trees and as big of a garden as I can squeeze into this thing. Matter of fact, I got to till my garden this weekend. It's time.
Oh, there was a book I read, I forget the name of the author. I'll have to see if I can find it. But it's this guy that his whole thing was kind of optimizing based on if you have like just an acre, there's so much you can do. It's like you can pretty much be self-sufficient between, like, I think it was 1 to 5, but I'll have to see if I can remember.
Due to the laws in the state where I live, I need at least 11. Because that would allow me to put up some of my own things, without them giving me money. If you have 11 acres where I live, you can have your own personal family cemetery. For one. You have to have 11 acres. The Amish all have to have at least 11 acres to have an outhouse.
Addicted to freedom and
Freedom.
land. Yeah, seriously.
America. Wait. I got a soundboard for this.
I was just about to
Wait for
say
it.
land is one of the. Oh.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Never mind.
I was going to say land
I was
is
gonna,
one of those things that
America.
is
Fuck
very
yeah.
unequally distributed and not as, some people are just not entitled to land property. I own my land, but I only own .1 acre. So I'm
I
very
own 0.5.
yeah, I'm very limited on what I can do. But for me, there's a lot of themes going forward into the future, and one of those things is sustainable behaviors. I think permaculture is one of those sustainable behaviors that's going to have impact, that could have impacts on both sides. People growing their own stuff, produce and things for sustaining themselves and people around them, rather than having to rely on mass industry. That would alleviate a lot of the pressures in mass industry and a lot of the outputs there, and yada yada yada. So, yeah, I think effective usage of the property you have is a good idea.
Well,
I think I had 0.4,
Ex-
0.3, 0.4.
expect me to toss up a lot of pictures of my garden because out of a 0.5 acre lot, I have 2,500 square feet of garden.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So,
Hell yeah.
plus I have
I could only aspire to be so good. We have one raised bed right now. I'd like that to be more, but we're trying.
I have
So.
2 apple trees. I have 3 I have 2 Nanking and 1 regular cherry tree. I have a pear tree. My peach tree died.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Well, my pear tree is an espalier pear. It's supposed to be attached to the side of my house, but it's not, and it has 5 different pear species grafted together. It's pretty cool.
We did get an American, what is it called, fig tree, but that takes like 5 years before it starts producing fruit.
Do you see this?
Don't hurt it.
Look behind me. See that?
Yeah.
That's my fig tree.
Yeah.
Don't y'all curse the fig tree now.
My fig tree go back outside this spring when it gets warm enough.
My wife had a pawpaw tree as well. That's one. Yeah. Do you guys get pawpaw up there?
No, too far north.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But when I lived in Kentucky, I got to eat them. Kind of weird, a little banana-y or whatever, but
yeah, people
weren't
describe
horrible.
it as very mild, like mango, pineapple, vanilla-y flavors, and it's very mild flavor. And yeah,
maybe it's a growing climate or what they fed the trees or whatever. But this one had a hint of banana flavor.
Yeah,
it's
banana.
custardy.
Yeah, bananas. It's definitely custardy. It's a custard fruit. So
it wasn't horrible. I didn't hate them.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. But
up here, if you walk any of our power lines, man, blackberries are just free for the taking.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
If it comes to food shortages, I'll eat whatever's available. So has anybody heard that, not to go off topic, maybe I could just end this on the addiction topic at this point, but
that'd probably be cool. We can just bullshit.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep going because I think, what we've talked about and what El Rito said and all these other things, I really think it hits on real addictive quality of human behavior. I mean, if you look at the global level, we're addicted to consumption and power consumption. And if there's one real big quantifying factor about the negative outputs we're causing on our planet, it's power consumption. You can basically, so it's an addiction to consumerism, and so much so that it's destroying our ecosystem where we live. So where was I going with that then? I don't know. I don't remember. Anyways, just trying to wrap it back, keep it on that same topic that addiction is personal. Addiction is a substance. Addiction also is a group thing, Many people can resonate off each other to kind of reverberate addiction across groups of people, I think.
Well, right there you go. See, that was one of the things I kind of realized. I was like, when I would go to certain, not all of them, I'll say certain AA meetings, people would jump up and say, man, am I glad we had a meeting tonight, man. If we wouldn't have had a meeting tonight, I'd have been at the bar drinking. And I was like, oh, these guys are addicted to meetings now. They're getting some kind of gratification from just being at a meeting that's taking the place of their former addiction.
Yeah, that's something I think about as far as when it comes to like breaking the patterns, and like I'd said earlier about like coming up with these new kind of coping skills. I think Dietrich had kind of touched on it, this idea that when you're raised in environments around this type of behavior and that's what you learn to cope with, being around like a community of people that can support you, yeah, for sure, it can, like, you can get enabled to do like other things and you start being overly reliant on those other people, as opposed to learning to, yeah, like figure it out for yourself to where you're not having to go, but you could still go because you know get some benefit and you're also able to then give back. Yeah, it's just like a fine line in between there, but I guess I'd rather see people addicted to going to the meetings than not.
Yeah, it's way less destructive.
Yeah, it's absolutely a thing. I think
Rita,
that group and seeking help and group therapies and things like that is important. Self-help is also important, extremely important. Like you have to kind of learn that self-help along the way with all the other help, Discord addiction. I mean, that's me too. I'm on this fucker every day.
Yeah, just
you.
click on my profile. You'll see.
Yeah. Rito,
there he is.
what's up, man?
Hey guys, I mean, we're saying all these things are addictions now, right? And it's like just human behavior, right? It's like your personality, like, or or the story, right? I mean, how at fault is someone if you're getting into this environment, right? And other people, it seems that they're also getting into that environment. I mean, it just I like that in a way to say, I mean, we're not at fault, right? I mean, let's just not be so mean to each other, right?
Nah, fuck
It's
that.
just how. Yeah, no, okay.
Just kidding. just kidding.
Yeah, well, I also wanted to say that resonated with me too in the story. Like, there's a point where you say, okay, this is enough of this, right? I'm sick of this, right? And why that happens to some people and not, or maybe it happens to all people, but you can't really act on it, right? Or you have the capacity to act on it, to do something, right?
Yeah.
That has
have that support to. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, just having that support and people that can help to show you, or if you have the ability to find the resources to help yourself. I think oftentimes that does come from finding other people that can give you those resources, but not always, especially nowadays. I mean, but then again, the internet is built off of other people that then provide you those resources. So in a way, it's all,
It's lots of complicated factors of like what resources are available to you. Are they quality resources? Do you have good, like home, friend, family, community support? Do you not? Do you have to seek for that elsewhere? Yeah, again, that goes back to, as humans, we want to categorize things very simply and say, well, this is the problem or this is the problem. It's like it's all those things together. And I'd say majority of people in the world are missing a lot of check boxes along the way of those things to come together for someone to have a good recovery environment. So
yeah, exactly.
And probably one of the most important things for a good recovery is a reliable support system. Let's say that doesn't even have to be all that good. It just has to be reliable to be there when you need them. Which was the nice thing about my personal sponsor. He's like, anytime, day or night. You call me.
Yeah.
And man, he said it doesn't even have to be for anything like this. He goes, your car breaks down. Call me.
You never know what can end up being that trigger,
Yeah, that's what his point was. You never know what could be your trigger. You could get out there, you have a blowout on your car and right next to a bar and go, yeah, fuck it.
Right. Yep.
I forget what show it was I was watching, but this person was illustrating their experiences trying to go through and get someone to be their sponsor in a support system for drugs or alcohol or something like that. And each person that they encountered would have a different strategy of how to be that support system. I feel like that's important as well. Like,
Mm.
you need the people to be who are really there to interested, and like for instance, one of them was just like very standoffish, and well, like, if you're not ready to accept it, I'm going to walk away until, not kind of opening the door and trying to be, accepting and understanding, and it was more like a rigid approach. So I feel like that's all variants you're going to encounter across the way too. So yeah, it's a lot of factors that have to come together to get a good social support system. And because a support system works for you, just like you said before, Pharm, doesn't mean that same exact support system is going to work for everybody.
Exactly.
Everybody
Exactly.
kind of needs a custom tuned support system. But that's again human behavior, trying to systematize everything and say, if it works for me, it should work for you too.
I'm not even saying whatever your support system is, as long as it's reliable and there when you need it. That's what's the important part. It doesn't matter if it's your priest, your doctor, your mom, whatever, as long as they're there when you are having a crisis or an issue or something. Something is triggering you. And you need
I
someone
think that's something.
Go ahead.
I had to. Sorry, we're all talking.
I talk a lot.
Well, it's interesting. It's your show, bro.
But I always talk a lot. That's why it was so hard for me to be a Discord moderator, to be a YouTube moderator sometime for debates, because I really want to say stuff.
Hey, a good moderator can. They can step in and like keep people on track and like, I'm going to give you my opinion here.
Especially with like the Kentucky Atheist versus Kent Hovind debate. Man, I had a lot of stuff I wanted to say to Kent.
Oh, I didn't know that was the thing. Ooh, I bet that was juicy.
It's on my channel.
Is it?
Yeah, I put it up on my channel too.
I have debates coming up in April or May. Yeah.
May.
Well,
Okay.
Well, we also have birthdays coming up in May.
I've got Objective Ethics. You know who he is?
Yep.
Like, and Jill.
Oh boy, Jill.
Yeah. And I'm supposed to have Toronto Bible Study and Objective Ethics, two of them, but Toronto Bible Study he's thrown a temper tantrum, so I don't know if I'm going to get him or not. But, and then Scott from Mirror Point said that he would start doing his over there with me too.
But I've had
Toronto said he didn't think I'd be a fair moderator.
Robin, I tried to schedule 3 different debates with Jill, and all 3 people who were going to debate him said nope. They went. Yeah. They're like, I'm not doing it.
Jill was hiding from me. Objective Ethics. Jill actually come on my channel the other day too, which Type was like, "Do you know why we don't have Jill on?" And I was like, well, I said, I'm going to have him on, you know what I mean? And as soon as he said something he's not supposed to, he'll be off. But he was pretty nice. You know, of course, he was Jill, you know.
Well, of course, he's going to just be Jill still.
There's only
Robin, do you have... Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Casey.
I was going to ask, just, do you have somewhere where you... like where we could see a schedule when that stuff is coming up, or can you post it like in the server or something? So I want to be able to catch them.
I will. I'll post them. I've got them on my YouTube channel, like on my upcoming streams, my upcoming events. You know, like right now.
Okay.
So I did some work on my channel the other day and moved some stuff around so that when you go to my channel and you go into the thing, it'll show what I've got up, like at the top of the page. It shows my upcoming streams, and then it has like my featured channels, and it'll have like my shorts. I've made a bunch of shorts in the last few days because I did a 7-day trial on that clipping or whatever, so it's making my shorts for me.
Nice.
I've gotten like 50 subscribers like in the last month. So it's amazing when you actually add content to your channel how much you get subscribers.
Now,
it does kind of work like that.
I just posted that link to that debate, Casey. Now I moderated a lot more debates at my previous channel, but I only put these two on this channel because I haven't got my introduction video done yet. There's been so much crap going on in my life, like having a homeless person living in my garage.
But Casey, I've been doing my own debating too. Like, I've done like 3 or 4 now debates.
I swear, it'll pop up on my feed right after the fact, and I'm like, God damn it!
Well, I have
That's why I'm asking, like, if I can get it ahead of time.
Yeah, I haven't.
Sorry.
The ones, these other ones are just the ones I'm going to be moderating on. They're not actually me debating.
Well,
Okay.
that's the main reason why I haven't launched my channel yet, is because there have been so many things. And my wife just retires today. Today is her very last day of work. So there's been a lot of crap going on. And soon as my life settles again, I'll get my intro video done and we'll get Let's Talk going. Because I don't want to do just debates anymore. I really don't. I mean, they were fun, but I will still do debates, but I don't want that to be my sole focus.
Yeah.
Which is what it was with the old one.
I'm not a big fan of debate, but I will debate if people want to. I probably won't do well.
Me and Steven have been really enjoying it. Like, we don't, because we're pretty used to each other. But he wanted to do is evolution a religion, and is atheism a religion? Those were both his topics, and I was like, okay, it's not going to go well for you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can win that. Is atheism
religion? I think I won. Yeah,
in one sentence.
I hope I won. Like, I think I've won every one of them so far. Actually,
religion requires belief, and atheism is just a lack of belief in God or God. So, okay, debate over. Have a good day.
The last three we've like, send them to my channel too. But the first one that I didn't have it hooked up, and I downloaded the debate so I could upload it on my channel, and I downloaded it and it had no sound. So I've got to go back and do that again, and I just never have. But the second one was, should Christians support the Second Amendment, which was kind of weird because I was actually doing it from inside the Christian worldview, like trying to show why they shouldn't support the Second Amendment, why they shouldn't support the Second Amendment, why, like the early teachings of the church were against even self-defense, actually. Yeah.
I remember catching part of that one. I don't think I got to watch the whole thing, but yeah.
First one though was America founded on Christianity, which, like, that is one of the ones that I want to debate other people on, because I have such a complete argument, but I didn't do a very good job. Like, my presentation was terrible, and I don't know, I was all wild acting. Like, and when I watch it now, I'm like, what was I doing? I was like moving around all the time and stuff. But yeah, I've got a pretty good argument. Don actually told me that I had he said that is, he just bragged on it. He said you had a kick-ass argument, so I feel pretty good at getting that kind of like
Hey, Robin.
Praise from him. Yeah.
I was in a VC with some people I had never spoken to in my life before, just like 3 days ago. And all of a sudden, one of them asked me, what kind of Southern are you? And I went, what? I go, I don't live in the South. And he goes, no. What kind of Southern are you? I said, well, I grew up in Slaughters, Kentucky. And he goes, yeah, we always recognize our own. I said, I can't get rid of, there's always going to be a little bit of drawl in my accent, I think, forever. It's stuck there.
Oh yeah, I've had 2 people in the last 2 days that just mocked like thing. I was like, okay, that's I don't know.
Well, it's because of comedians like Jeff Foxworthy, saying things like, well, you don't want your brain surgeon going, well, all right now, we going.
He said, well, he said, your accent sure is funny. I said, well, you come down here, and I said, a lot of people talk like this.
Everyone talks like that in Kentucky.
Well, I think maybe we might be a little more twangy than the most. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
It's,
I think
just,
I
you
have
see what I mean?
yeah, even for Kentucky.
It just happens to be that way, you know.
Yeah,
mhm.
like
Right.
they
You're
all make me say wash. Like Travis and them all make me say wash. They'll be like, say wash.
you're
Wash.
addicted to your cultural identity. That's what it is.
Yes.
Well, I knew a lot of people who said "warsh."
That's what I mean. That's why I say they're like say wash. I'm like wash.
Warsh.
Yeah. My dad, being from rural PA, would always put an N in milk. And we're like, Dad, there's no N in milk. He was also he was an engineer. He worked in the Department of Defense, engineering and stuff, but he would still say nuclear.
Nuclear.
Drove me nuts.
Right.
Yeah, it drove us nuts. Yeah. Mm.
Is it not nuclear?
Huh?
What?
Nuclear.
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 Pronounce,
It's nuclear.
pronounce,
Yes,
pronounce
it's
the word I
nuclear.
just typed in the chat.
It sounds right, don't
Roulette.
it? Yeah, I had to like get through a couple of times myself.
Yeah, spell it. Spell it.
Wait, pronounce that word. Who said it already?
Roulette.
Roulette? Yeah. Well, there's a town 2 towns over from
Roulette.
me. Name that. It's not pronounced that way.
Oh God, what is it pronounced?
They call that place Rowlett.
Rowlett.
It's
Rowlett.
Rowlett.
It's Raleigh.
Rowlett.
And we don't live in the South.
Oh, I was listening to some like Australian channel the other day, and they, what's the one in Kentucky that's like, Louisville, and they're like Louisville, and they could not get it. It's just
No,
cracking me up, making me think,
Robin,
Nolan's
don't
being the
listen
most
to this.
notorious one. Yeah.
You go down to Kentucky. You go down to Kentucky and you ask average people, not Robin. We'll leave her out of this. But you ask average Kentuckians, go, how do you pronounce the capital of your state? Is it Louisville or Louisville? And they'll go, well, they'll go, it's Louisville. And you go,
It's
no,
Louisville.
it's Frankfurt.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
The capital
Okay.
of Kentucky is Frankfurt, bro.
Arkansas or Arkansas? What is it?
It's Louisville.
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Oh my God.
Arkansas.
that was another one the Australians were talking about. It was just it's so funny. They're like, it's Kansas City and Arkansas.
Arkansas.
I had an English teacher in 4th grade that made me pronounce that second C in Connecticut.
Connecticut.
I'm like, no one says it that way. It's Connecticut for everybody else.
And just learn how to spell Mississippi. We had to learn a song.
Mm-hmm. M-I.
Yeah.
Crickulator, I. That one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humpback eye.
Humpback. We had like moves for it and everything. Yeah.
It's funny as shit.
Crickulator.
Yeah, it's it is another one of those socially acceptable things, Rito, that often gets overlooked as making fun of making fun of accents and pronunciations and.
It does not bother me. But like
yeah, exactly right. Some people can take it to heart. That's
Absolutely
can happen, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
the way mine is, and especially with what the Kentucky accent's like known for, you know what I mean? Like, I don't let when they try to do it, I don't let them. It don't bother me because it's first of all I get made fun of here actually. Like I said, I sound pretty twangy down here, but if you let them think it bothers you, then they like that better. That's why they're doing it. So I just.
Well, if you think your accent is thick, Robin, you should move to Slaughters.
I know I sound like a bale of hay, and so
in
in
Slaughters, it was. I think Slaughters, even though it's in northern Kentucky, it's clear up by Evansville, Indiana. It's probably one of the most southern towns in the world because man, the accents are thick there.
I used to come up there to New York City to the Hunts Point Market up there, and the Teamsters they would be like, "Caneyville, come up here and talk to us." And they would be like, "Does everybody sound like that down there?" I was like, "No, not really. I sound like a hick down there too." But they always wanted me. They always wanted me to come. Like nobody in my family sounds like me. Nobody. I mean,
So,
like, nobody, my mom, my dad, my sister, none of my cousins, none of them sound like me. I'm the most country sounding person out of all of them.
Robin, I want to tell you this because this is kind of an interesting experience that I had. But one of my friends is from India. He's from the Delhi area. And he popped on and heard you talking one day. And he's like, "What accent is that?" He says, "It sounds very regal."
Regal.
It's like, that's a really interesting perspective that it,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Like Regal the car, maybe. I used to have one of them.
I mean, I guess it's just how it sounds to outside of this country. Like, look, I'm going to admit to something, okay? One of my own personal biases has been for a long time. When I hear a Southern accent, a deep, rich, thick Southern accent, I think stupid. It's a thing that I have had to try and turn myself around on and consciously say, I know very smart people who have these accents. But that was kind of what I grew up with too. It's like you're kind of indoctrinated with some form of ignorance of that which is not what you are or what you grow up with, what you grow up in,
Well, yeah, but there's, I mean, like, more, if there's a real strong Southern accent, more often than not, they're not going to be real smart. Like, that's just the numbers for you. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, fair enough. I don't like to judge people like that. I think there's a lot of other real strong social dynamics going on there. I think, there's Southern poverty, impoverishment. There's
Lack of
religion.
funding and education.
Yeah, there's religion that
I
blocks
will admit,
good
though,
quality education. There's, so there's all kinds of factors around that. But it's
yeah,
definitely a cognitive bias of my own.
I will admit that being with a woman with a strong accent, like, I guarantee you that when I open my mouth and, talk to most people, their opinion of my IQ drops about, 30 points right off the bat as soon as they hear my voice. Yeah, that's why I always strive to be smarter than I look, or smarter than I sound. I'm hoping to
well,
make it.
I went to when I was in high school in Kentucky. There were people smarter than me, people, dumber than me, whatever. I mean, I was probably somewhere a little bit above the middle, and everyone there had the same accent. It didn't matter. The smartest guy in our class sounded exactly the same as the dumb guy.
Yeah.
It's such a thick accent in Slaughters. I mean, I bet Robin